This has been actually really, really fascinating, using this time to talk about how people live. And this, no, it's been really, I really appreciate it. And thank you so much. And sorry that we're thinking we have to be able to close it up because I've got to go into this last reading for you guys.
I didn't realize how late
We're just chatterboxes. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you very much. It was very, very cool. I really, really appreciated it. But now I'm supposed to be reading. And I've got 3 poems that I'm going to share with you, and they're going to be from different books. Oh, let me find them. I put these down because they're in my way. This first one is in the May to August 2023 collection book of issues from cc&d magazine, and it's titled It's All About Impact. It's All About Impact. It's the name of it. It's a collection of issues, and I had read an Ytterbium poem, a Twitter-length poem, so I was going to read the actual full-length poem, which is in this book for you, and it'll be different from the Twitter-length poem. I promise. It's called Ytterbium. I've searched for you. Though others may say otherwise, I know you're not at all rare, so I'll still keep searching. You've always been on time whenever I've wanted you, but you seem to leave that fire in the air as you leave. And you always escape me, like you slip between my toes as I'm walking along the beach, like grains of complex sand, each grain a nearly microscopic crystalline rock. Like your minute crystal sliding by me as I walk on by. I know you've always mixed well with others, so I'll go to that beach, and I'll sit there and I will take a stick and write your name in that precious sand. I'll check my watch. How long do I have to keep searching? I'll run my hands along those grains of sand. I'll study those compounds making those grains of sand, those ragged crystalline stones. Those crystalline stones remind me of the shards of doped glass that shattered when I saw you last. And now it's been so long that I've been looking for you. I'll check my watch again. I'll pull out my pocket infrared laser pen. I'll shine it on that sand. I'll look to see if anything reflects light in different colors back to me, wondering what I'd see if my eyes could see the infrared light in my search for you. As I said, I'll do anything in my search to find you. I'll check the time again. My watch has to be on time. Because I don't care what anyone says. I wrote your name in the sand, and if the elements wash away your name tonight, I will be back tomorrow to write it again. That was in. Thank you. That was in. It's All About Impact. It's all also in the original book, The Periodic Table of Poetry. Da, 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 da. And that was in a show that was at the Fine Arts Center in Chicago where I read it. And remember I said I shone a light? That's me shining a little red light. When I'm doing this, I'll shine a laser light and see if it makes a difference. But that was me doing that from that show. Let me find. I think there was 2 from that show, yeah. I don't know what I'm saying in this one, but, you know, I performed these in the show, and that was for Ytterbium, and it was cool to be able to read those and be able to share things about elements at the same time. This is, and now I'm going to say that's enough of All About Impact. I've got too many books here. I'm going to share with you books that, 2 poems that appear. The last 2 will be from the book Casting Off, which is the Down in the Dirt issue collection book from the May to July 2023 issues. One of them, because it relates to Christmas, and that's why I'm putting it in here. It is titled Fighting for Freedom on Christmas. When these guys got together and wrote the Declaration of Independence, the British Empire didn't just roll over and say, oh, okay, and let the United States of America do whatever they wanted. Just because we signed a paper saying that we chose to be free from Britain, paper didn't mean anything. So the British Empire, to the British Empire, so they were ready to fight to keep their hold over us any way that they could. So, yeah, Britain came to fight, but since they're an empire and all, they'd employ some of their Hessians from Germany to do some of the fighting for them so they could cover all of their bases. And after months fighting in 1776, George Washington's Continental Army was at a loss. It was approaching Christmas, and they stayed camped on the shores of the Delaware River in Pennsylvania. Hessians, German mercenary soldiers for the British Empire, were all across the river at Trenton, New Jersey, which stopped the Americans, who were now out of munitions. So, on the 23rd of December, Washington brings over Hugh Mercer, a Scottish general, and Captain Alexander Hamilton, and he says the Hessians are going to be drunk and reveling on Christmas night. So, that is when we'll attack, when they'll least expect it. But Mercer explained, we don't have any munitions, which is when Hamilton said, that's why we'll attack then, to get their munitions. So Washington thinks, we have 5,000 troops, we'll cross the Delaware, that's 300 yards, we'll get through the ice and we'll fight the British, who only have their hired German army. Christmas rolls around and the Hessians are celebrating Christmas, which is when the separate U.S. ships set sail. Those stuck on Mercer's ship think, there's too much snow, let's go back. But all Hamilton could think was that we have to help Washington. And so even though the others on his ship balked, saying, no, there's too much snow, there's too much ice, it's just too cold, George Washington could only stress to everyone that we are crossing the Delaware River. There was no arguing with this man over this one. And maybe you've seen a painting of it, but it was much grimier and dirtier than that painting could ever portray. There were 60, 70 mile per hour winds. Icicles were hitting their boat that was made of like cheap pine and probably barely holding up. And some of the soldiers even had towels wrapped around their feet because they had no shoes. The Continental Army fought the ice and the snow to cross 300 yards of water to make it across the Delaware River. And when they crossed, the sun had already rose, and they knew that they were late. But that deadline was only in their minds. They just survived hell, so by now, all they could think was, let's do this. And with that, they walked into Fort Trenton, and they caught the entire Hessian military off guard. Washington ended up catching over 1,000 Hessians, and only 4 Continental Army troops died when they looked and saw their munitions. But, well, added bonus, they also found in a corner a stash of rum. Added bonus indeed, they thought. So they got really drunk on rum and taking their Hessians prisoners back across the Delaware River. They were then falling over drunk. I mean, falling over this side of the boat drunk. So much for the Continental Army wearing towels for shoes, because at this point the Continental Army is drunk and freezing from the ice-filled river ride. So despite this pain, know that this is George Washington's first major victory in battle for his country, the country that he would later be the first president for, a man that we emblazon on our dollar bill. And now we give so much credit to anyone elected as president. But think of the battles George Washington had to fight to get to that point, which was only the beginning. It was the beginning of everything that we would define not only for George Washington, but also for him as a fighter and a leader, and what we define as a nation. I think I was just completely stunned at how, when I was reading about the ice and everything that they would go through on this boat, because you see this like majestic painting and I'm like, it's nothing like that. What are you people thinking? So anyway, that was something that was written for an events calendar thing. But can I read the last poem before?
Yes,
It's a short one. I haven't been seeing time. Sorry, and it has nothing to do with this country. And I'm surprised that I've never read it before, because it is in this book, and it is called Just One Book. And I've got bonus pictures from a ton of shows that it was in. Not only is it in this book, but it is in every event of the year, which is, you know, an anthology from stuff that would be covering for different things. It was also in the book Pharaoh Memes. It was I could just show off all of these book covers for you guys. Pharaoh Memes, it was also because it's been in so many performance art shows. It was in chapter 48, volume 2, I believe. But this is a poem that I'll share with you the images because I haven't seen it, because we're talking too much. This is called Just One Book. I wore my older sister's communion veil, playing dress-up in my imaginary wedding. I read my older sister's prayer book, wondering who can hand me my answers. But mangled in a maelstrom of religions, I was left lost, searching for salvation. After years ticked by, it was only then when my Judeo-Christian boyfriend gave me a book. It didn't quite fit in with his beliefs, but he told me to give it a read. Now, I remember reading books where I'd have to tell myself to read 50 pages a day just so that I could get through it. And I would see if I could honestly not even tell you if I could even remember any of the pages in the book after I read them. But this book was like no other. It spoke to me philosophically, and it managed to show me how to live. You didn't think you could get so much from just one book. And it's true, afterward I swooped up as much reading on the subject as I could. And it still stuns me that just one book could put me on a track to how to think through life. Because suddenly all my reasoning made sense. With this one book, I learned how to fit the pieces together, and suddenly my life made sense. I didn't think that just one book could do that to a person, but I am living testament to the message. And like I'm putting my hand on a Bible, I will swear to this day that just the right book, in just the right hands, of just the right minds, can really give the world clarity and transform everything perfectly. I never tell people what that book is, but that's just one book. I'm not going to tell you, but the first time I did it at a show in Austin at the Baha'i Faith Center, I even have the book in my hand, well, a book in my hand, but there are so many things from shows from it. I've read for it at book readings. This was in Chicago for book releases for it. It's all over the place. I'm kind of like just going crazy with all the photos. I did a couple of them in Chicago for it. Another one in Chicago, and I was even on the Chicago radio at WZRD radio for a reading for it. So it's been which is why I'm stunned that I've never read it for you guys. So I think that we've just been talking too much, that we've gone over. How are you doing, John McMullen? Should we be going? And I should also say to everybody that January 7th is the next Poetic License open mic, and there will be a Facebook listing for it. And thank you. I hope you guys like that, you guys, because I like to leave a book open, like just one book, whatever book you want to think that might be, then that's a book that works for you. So I thank you for listening, you guys, and thank you for staying longer, because oh my gosh, we're 10 minutes past, and if I was in the bookstore, we'd really have to be stopping and closing up here. But
when did you say the first show? In January?
It's when? The first Sunday of every month, and that's January 7th. So on the 1st, I will put out an event page for it, and a week beforehand. And
I'm just putting it in my phone now so I don't forget.
Perfect, because everybody should remember, and you're triple plus awesome. I'll use more of my Orwellian speak again. Thank you so very much. Thank you for listening, and thank you for this conversation, because it's really been fascinating to be able to talk.
Can I just say,
yes,
Joel?
Yes, sir.
Christmas. Yes, good night, everyone. I like your first one of the second session that you did.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I hope I see you next year.
Oh, if I'm above ground, I'll be back. Like I said,
Perfect. Yeah, if I'm above ground.
I'm just trying to inspire poets to be balanced in how they look at the world.
And to all of you, good luck. I said, Ed Moore.
Thank you, guys. Thanks you.